Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for our SuperUser series with Clarity and Futurely. Today we are joined by Debbie Whitaker from Not Just Numbers, and we're doing the first in the series, which is introducing business advisory services for your firm. Steve Brigginshaw is here from Clarity and Sam Scave from Futurely, and Steve is going to lead us today and do some questions all together, a bit of a roundtable discussion with Debbie and get some experiences firsthand from her. So Steve, I will hand over to you now.
Thank you very much, Amy. As Amy mentioned, thank you very much for being here and watching this series. This is the first of a three-parter. So the Super User series, this one is about introducing business advisory services for your firm. The next episode will be about delivering successful business advisory services, not just for your clients, but for your firm and how that can impact profitably and positively for your firm and your team. And then the final part, the third part, will be about scaling business advisory. So after you've watched this one, do go ahead and watch the other two as well. I'm sure there'll be some nuggets in there for you to take away. So without further ado, please, I'd like to introduce you to Debbie. Hi, Debbie. How you doing?
Hi, Steve. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for being here today. I think, Debbie, first, just to start us off, would you just give a brief introduction about yourself and about Not Just Numbers?
So I'm Debbie Whitaker. I am the owner manager of Not Just Numbers, which is a small and very perfectly formed accountancy practice in Leeds. So we're just on the outskirts of Leeds. We have been Not Just Numbers since 2011. And there's a team of 7, including our FD company. We've been digital since 2012, yes. So I think the new buzzword at the minute is a digital practice. So we are one of those, but we have been doing it quite some time.
Brilliant. Thank you, Debbie. And just for context as well, are you happy just to share the team size and client size, just for people to understand a little bit more about the firm?
Yeah, so as I said, we're a team of 7. So we're not a huge firm. We have around 160 clients. So ours is around quality, not quantity.
Absolutely. And I remember you saying to me before about being more of a boutique type accounting firm. Is that probably the best way to describe what you guys do?
Yeah. We like to liken ourselves like that. So we've worked really, really hard to get to a point where we feel like we're attracting the right clients now. So, and we're not huge. We're not a chain. We are quite small, and we have a certain type of client that we want to be in our business. And so we liken ourselves to a boutique hotel where it's sort of a good standard, high end. We're not the cheapest. We're not the most expensive, but we sort of sit somewhere in the middle with a really, really great selection of clients.
Absolutely, there's a market for everybody, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've just found that market fits with us the best. We like to serve and we like to help, and we can't do that well if we have too many clients. And for all the other things we will probably talk about. That's how we sit in the marketplace, and we're quite happy with where we're at. So.
Fantastic. Now, tell me a little bit more, because this is about introducing business advisory, and in a way, technology is synonymous with business advisory. Like you mentioned earlier, that digital is a bit of a buzzword at the moment within the profession. So, because of that nature, it'd be really good to share in terms of how you and the team, and Not Just Numbers, actually decides to choose what technology to use within your accounting firm to help with business advisory. So how do you go about choosing the right tech?
Okay, so I think when we first started, I'd say 2012, there wasn't that much choice. I'd seen Xero demoed in 2010 at the CIMA, the Members in Practice conference for CIMA, and I think we spoke. We've already spoken that. I knew that would change the face of accountancy and how we delivered to our clients. So it's always been Xero for me. QuickBooks wasn't around. Cash flow was a little bit clunky, but Xero seemed like it was going places. So we hooked up with those guys. At that time, Receipt Bank was just entering the market, as was TripCatcher, and so those were the standard bolt-ons that seem to fit really, really well in terms of getting the bookkeeping side done, and then upwards with the accounts. So when we've been looking at apps since then, it's always around what's the need for the business, and we see, there's so many apps out there now, and it really is like a shiny magpie syndrome where it's like, oh, that seems to be the one for this month, and that one's for this month, and let's try this one, and you can get consumed with spending time and effort looking at all these apps. And I think if you're a bigger practice, you've got the resource in there to do that, that's great. But for us, it's do we need that piece of software to service a gap? Does it need to do something specific? And for what we're looking for, does that specific, out of the ones that are out there that cover that, we look at the reviews, we look at the marketplace, we look at we talk to clients or other accountants that are already using it, and is it going to fit what we want? So it's not around just trying everything. We're quite selective because we just don't have the time or resource to be researching everything. So a lot of it's recommendation. It's servicing a need for our business.
Yeah, so I suppose it's really looking at what pain points you have within your business.
Exactly. It's just it is exactly that. It's solving a need. It's solving a problem. And it's not rather just have that app just because it's there or because it does this and it might have a few bells and whistles on it. Does it actually serve a purpose? Because for every piece of software you engage with, there's a cost implication, and it can just spiral if you're not careful. And you've actually got to look: do I actually need it? Does it solve a problem? Does it come highly recommended? Does it do? It might not do everything you want it to do, but it might do the majority of what you want to do, and it might be the best of a bad bunch or best of a whatever. So and going to places like the Xero conference, where you can have a look around, you can talk to the software guys, and you can understand, you can get demos. That really helps in my book. I think when they've done the Accountex exhibitions, go and have a look, go have a play, listen to the talks on it, talk to other people that are already using it, and if possible, if you can't do any of that, at least get a demo from the software companies, because even trying to just do the demos yourself or work through video tutorials, that can be quite cumbersome, really. So
yeah,
where possible.
I agree, Debbie. I think that's a really good point, actually, in terms of lots of software does have free trials, which is great if you have the time at that moment to actually invest and delve deeper into it, which some people do, which is great, and that's what the trial's for. But most of the time, and I know I'm guilty of this, I've signed up for things and think, I'll play with it later, and then forget, and then the trial's gone, and then I'll need a demo anyway. So you may as well go for the demo to start with.
Yeah, and certainly with more complex stuff. So, for instance, stock systems, where we've been looking, we work a lot with Unleashed, and their stock system's great. For the size of our clients and for the complexity of our clients, it does everything we need it to do. But they will quite happily, they'll sit and do an hour demo with you, and it gives you that opportunity to ask the questions: does it do this? Does it do that? Will it fit that? You can have those open conversations, and at the end of the hour, you've got a really good idea as to whether it's going to fit or not. And again, make a wish list. If clients are asking you about certain things, make a list of it, and then when you go to somewhere like XeroCon, target the right stands and grab their attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's interesting you talk about tech, because basically you're saying technology is there to help solve a problem. It's not there for the sake of technology. So don't go after the shiny object type thing. And what we do talk about is bringing together technology, process, and people. Having those three together, so you have the right technology that solves a problem, does the heavy lifting for you. Effectively, it's a tool, particularly around advisory. It helps make things simple for everybody to be able to understand and use and get the right information out. Then you've got the processes that actually within the firm to help the team deliver it. and then you have the team itself to actually deliver that advisory service and to help develop and provide the information to deliver that advisory services in the first place. So I know teams are a really important thing for you and your journey. You know, coming to that third element of that diagram, if you like, how do you get the right team involved? Particularly, like if you're just introducing advisory services, how do you get the right team, or how do you get the team on board with you in the first place? Let's start there.
Well, we're quite fortunate because we're a small team and we're quite agile. I think we can move quite quickly on something. And because we all share an office, I don't sit in the ivory tower looking down at my team. We work. I'm a roll your sleeves up type of a girl and get on with it. So my team listen. You know, they can hear me in the office. They can. We talk about different pieces of software. One of the things we did, which was a massive leap of faith for us last year, was we took on an ops manager to manage our processes and manage our software. So, and when we're looking at a new piece of software, involve the team. You know, just say, what do you think about this? Or, you know, my ops manager always sits on the demos with us, and even though she's not qualified she's not a finance qualified person. She's obviously qualified in what she does, but she's got to know our clients really, really well, and she sort of stands back and takes the emotion out of things and looks at something with a clean eye, where we, you know, as accountants or as a geeky digital accountant like me, I get really excited about stuff, and she'll sit back and go, but have you thought about this, or what about the cost, or, you know, and she's my leveler, if you like. So don't just try and do it all on your own. You know, involve the team, especially with some of the software that we're using now, like Clarity. We can involve lower level members of the team, and that's something we want to look at going forward, is how can we add even more value to our current clients in terms of dashboard reporting or KPIs or whatever, even if they're only compliance only clients. How can we engage them in better conversations and you know, by using the software that we've got? But it really is about process and mapping that out. Sorry, I've got my friend in the background.
No worries. Do you think, sorry Debbie, just to interject there, do you think your team, I know you've got a smaller team, 7 people I think you said, or 6 of you, do you think they're critical for delivering, do you think they've been critical for you to introduce having the right kind of people and the right fit and the right personalities to enable the whole process for you to deliver and introduce business advisory, especially because you've got such a wide client base?
Hugely, Amy. Mainly because I think good data, and I know we've talked about this, but good data comes from the bottom up, and so it comes right from bookkeeping level. And you know, we never used to have, when we first started, and there were 2 of us, we didn't have bookkeeping in house. We used to outsource. But we do have a team of bookkeepers now that are really, I think they're all AAT qualified as a minimum, but they go above and beyond bookkeeping, and we engage on them and say, what about this, think about that, and we try and step them up to think about management accounts and control accounts and the quality of the data. So everything stems from the bookkeeping, and the bookkeepers get to know the clients really, really well because they're backwards and forwards for information, they're chit-chat, you know, chatting away. They get to know them probably better than I do in some cases. And so they get to know what's going on in their world. So, and because we share that information, and somebody say, oh, such and such has done this, and that triggers something else, and think, oh, you make a mental note. So when you get to your advisory meetings, you've already got that information prepared. And you know, we've introduced more structure to our meetings as well, in terms of pre-work questionnaires, you know, so where the meetings are capturing more information. But the whole team are involved because you know, we're really keen in our business. It's all about customer service. It's all around getting under the skin of a customer's business and actually knowing exactly what's going on. It's not just we've got the books in, let's turn the tax returns around, let's do the year-end accounts and ship it out and send them a bill. It's not like that at all. It's understanding exactly how they work, what they like, what they don't like, when their birthdays are, how many children they've got. And between us as a team, we all know that information, we find it, and then and so that the team are absolutely key to advisory.
Especially if you've only got so many hours in the day and so many people that you can talk to with your level of expertise as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's really important to,
but just it's about quality of data, and that runs right the way through from the bottom up, and so right from bookkeepers upwards. It's key to advisory that the quality is there, the relationships are there, and the team are delivering the service right through the business, and we all share the same values. And we recruit on values, we recruit clients on values, and it's just, we don't just take any person on. We've made our mistakes. We've worn the t-shirt definitely on bad staff and bad clients, the whole thing. So you learn as you go along.
Debbie, there's one thing I wanted to bring up, and I know that you mentioned your ops manager. Your ops manager isn't a fee earner, is that right?
Yes, no, she's not. No, although she'd like to be. She's getting more involved, but no, she's. It was a complete leap of faith, because I knew by taking with a team as small as we've got, taking on an ops manager and PA was a complete overhead, and we were going to have to carry that cost. But by the work she's done, and by the fact that we've got someone taking the emotion out of everything, somebody I trust implicitly that I can hand things over to, she actually saves us a lot of money, because she's working on the processes, she's picking up the slack, she's making sure we don't let anything fall through the cracks. So in terms of income, she's helped us get our income up by A, taking the emotion out of everything, and B, making sure we don't have any slippage.
Yeah. So
and if we do, it's communicating that back to the client, saying that's going to be, if you want that, that's going to be X. That's outside of your normal services, and just picking up on things like that. And I'm one of those that I've had to learn the hard way, unfortunately, and it's let's not charge for that because they're having a really bad time, or because I know them so well, I get too emotionally involved. Where having somebody like my ops manager, she'll say, but they've had the work and they've taken your time, and value that, and it's that. So although she's not a fee earner, she more than earns her money.
Absolutely. So she's someone that sits in the corner of the business and you as well, really. Yeah. Making sure there's no scope creep.
Exactly that. Yeah, I was trying to think of the right word. But she's truly become my wingman. To be honest. Yeah.
And then I suppose the other thing is she's freed you up and other team members to actually deliver more business advisory services.
Absolutely, because she you can throw anything at her and she'll just pick it up. So we've been right through however many months of furlough, and my payroll lady was at, the overtime that they've had to work and the effort that's gone in and the calculations that's had to be done. She would have completely fallen off a cliff, and our ops manager has actually picked up, understood the process, understood the legislation, interpreted it all, made sure all our clients got a newsletter, sometimes 4 times a week in the early days, communicated all of that legislation out in an easy to speak, easy to read format. And so she's been absolutely invaluable.
Excellent. A huge member of the team, absolutely.
Yeah, massive.
That's fantastic. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because normally that isn't the case in accounting. Everyone's a fee earner. So I think that's really insightful to share. So thank you for that. Now, we are talking about a term, business advisory. We've said it a few times now. It means different things to different people. We've actually come up with 5 different levels of business advisory within Clarity to help identify what business advisory actually is, to demystify it effectively. But what does business advisory actually mean for you, Debbie, and not just numbers?
Well, we're called Not Just Numbers because for exactly that reason, we're not just about the numbers. So business is all encompassing, isn't it? So business can be marketing, it can be finance, it can be sales, it can be HR, operations, all of those things. And I guess it's having an understanding of all of those things to be able to identify pain points for clients and being able to navigate them around all of that. So when we term it advisory, our standard advisory services are monthly or quarterly management accounts, followed up with a meeting, and in those meetings we'll go through the finances, we'll go through we'll go through forecasting, but for me it's all around what's troubling you, what's going really, really well, sharing the good stuff as well, obviously. What's going really well, how can we help you with X, Y, and Z? And if we don't, if we can't help, we generally know somebody who can. We've been sort of noted for our directory of people we can introduce them to. So it's about being part of the team. It's part of be part of your client's team, in that you're the go-to person in order to help solve their problems, be a sounding board for people. In a former life, I've held FD roles, and we do have an FD business which is run by my business partner, and that's different again, because that, by being a true finance director, you can properly get under the skin of a business. You've got more time, you get more involved. Whereas we have limited time, limited resource. So it's just about being a sounding board, explaining. We do a lot of training, a lot of educational stuff to make sure that whatever we deliver in terms of management reports, and that can include, how's your marketing plan going? How's this going? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? It's just making sure that we explain and they understand and they're not bewildered, because we all know, running a business, you've got to wear your 10 hats, and there's a lot going on. So we draw on our experience, we draw on experience from other clients, we share knowledge, we share experience, and people go away half the time people say, oh, I don't feel so stupid now, or that makes complete sense, or oh yeah, now you've explained it, I don't feel so bad, and and now and generally we'll send them away with action points and things to go away and work on.
Yeah,
it's great to hear. So obviously the great importance that you place on meetings and actually speaking with clients and uncovering what the business is actually going through. I speak to a few people in the market that derive advisory as a report to send out, like a standalone document. What would you say to that, and how I suppose they're not just numbers so different, because that's what advisory is to me, is really speaking to them and understanding what the true issues are.
It's about relationships, isn't it? Accountants have got to be a trusted partner. It's like anything, counsellors, coaches, mentors, it's a trusted relationship. We hold a lot of data on people. We have a lot of information, and we can be really helpful to them. So it is all about relationships, and it's about, some of the reports that Futurely do are fantastic now. You've got your actions and recommendations, and you can wrap a lot of stuff up in that report. But for me, it's then taking that one step further and just saying, okay, you've had your report, you've had all your information. Let's have a run through the forecasting. Let's see where you're up to with that. And it's going, it's talking to people, drawing that information out of them. You can't do that on a report. You send a report out and they'll look at it and they'll go, yeah, and file it away. And
so it's the explanation, isn't it, that you're really giving?
It's the explanation. It's like, I have one client every month, every single month. We have a quick run through the accounts of finance. We talk about where he's at, what's your pipeline looking like, and then we jump straight onto the forecast. And within Futurely, we use it in a really, really detailed way, and we've likened it to having an operational forecast. So we encourage clients to have their pipeline built in, so they can see if they've got a new contract, what does that look like? If they lose a contract, what does that look like? But we get right down to that granular detail. And every month I work through his client base and say, right, okay, is that still going ahead? Oh, no, actually move that back a month. Okay, so what about this one? Where are you up to with them? Have they paid their last bill? Da, 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 da. Do you have any problems with credit control? All of those conversations, it's a conversation, isn't it? And we work right the way through his pipeline. But then I'll work out, I've got lines in there saying, well, actually, if you want to take that level of dividend and you want to have that much money in the bank and da, 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 we need to have sales of X. So based on your current pipeline, you're this much short every month. So that it then gives them targets, and we set sales targets for people and say, what does that look like? Is that 2 more contracts? Is it 4 of that product, or is it 3 of that product? Or, you know, in the marketplace, where do you think that's what do you think that looks like? And it's encouraging those conversations, I think. So you get much better feel for, and you can help more the more you know. Sending out a report, they'll just read it and go, oh yeah, what next?
There's a real skill to explain finances to non-finance people, I think, and obviously you guys all have that inherent skill, but it's definitely the key to helping them understand and make business simple for them. So
yeah, and we're just introducing. We've been working with another FD who's created a training platform for that, just for that. And it's finance for non-finance people. So we're going to work with that under license, white label it, and offer that out. Well, it'll be a free product for them, so that when we onboard clients, or we've got clients who we think struggle with the terminology, we can encourage them to do that course. It's a modular course, and it just helps them understand some of the speak. So it makes the meetings even more meaningful, and they have a better understanding. And people say, oh, why are you doing it for free? Why don't you sell it? Why don't you put a value on it? The value for me is not having to sit in a meeting and explaining everything. We can do more of the good stuff rather than sitting and explaining, because they'll already understand. So that's the key thing for us.
And would you say that business owners in a way are scared of their accountant, or scared of the information because there's an element of lack of understanding, or they don't want to look silly in front of somebody else? Because I remember, like with some clients, when they leave the meeting room and they're nodding and they're saying all of the right things when you've explained something to them on a level where you thought that they were at, because that's what they've told you. But then the penny drops and you think, actually, I don't think they've got any of that. We need to explain it in a different way. So would you say that's a challenge that we have as accountants? And this is why it's so important to explain the numbers and provide this additional training. And we've seen the statistics that the business owners, what they want from their accountants is plain English from their accountants, and advice to actually improve and grow their business, understanding their business as someone they can trust. So we know what they want, but there's that little bit of is it a knowledge gap? Is it a fear? What do you think that is, Debbie?
Well, I think a bit of everything, really. There's definitely a knowledge gap. When people go into business, it's because they're good at something and they enjoy doing something, or they think they can make money at it, or whatever. What they don't always bank on is all the other stuff that comes with it, like, oh my God, I've got to get out there and sell myself, or how do I get my services out there? How do I get my products out there? And then when it comes to finance, I don't understand what that means. And I remember going to my hairdresser one day, who happens to be a client, and he said to me, "Oh, you're so clever." And I said, "James, I can't cut hair." And so, as much as people, I never want people. When people say to me, "Oh, it's like going to the dentist," or that you hear them on the phone, "I'm with my accountant." I just laugh. I just think it's hilarious, because we're just advisors. We're just people that they're employing and paying to do a service. Just like they're going out to their clients and doing a service. We don't do anything differently. We've just got a different knowledge base. So I'm rubbish at writing and blogs and things like that. So I outsource all of my stuff to those. And sometimes I sit there going, I know this is a stupid question, but... And I want to feel the same with my advisors as my clients feel with us. And you shouldn't sit behind a power desk charging a lot of money thinking I've saved them this amount in tax, blah, blah, blah. That's your job. Yes, value what you do. but it's not. It's around making them feel comfortable, because at the end of the day, I go back to relationships. You want to be part of their team. You want to be able to advise and help and get them to a level. You know, if they want to be a £3-5 million company, how are we going to help you get there? And you can only do that if you've got trust, knowledge, and you know, and they feel comfortable in your presence, and don't feel stupid asking questions.
Yeah.
We had a client who said, the thing we love about Not Just Numbers is we never feel stupid. No question is a silly question. It's, you know, you only know what you know, don't you?
Absolutely right. It doesn't matter from what walk of life you are or what you do as a profession. You're absolutely right. So yeah. I suppose if we had to create like a synopsis of what business advisory is, would you say, if we distilled that down from what we've just been discussing, that it's interpreting the numbers for the clients, yes, and then asking them questions based on those numbers? Because when coming back to what you're saying, as accountants, we don't have the answers necessarily. We may do, no, but likely we don't. The client has. The client knows their business inside and out. They know what's going on and what they can and can't do. They just haven't had the time to stop and think about the questions. So what we're doing in that business advisory role is interpreting the numbers, helping them understand what's going on, and then asking them a question of, like you say, it could be on any element of their business. Doesn't mean we need to understand that element of business, but we're saying, well, what about this number here? What's going on here?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then we're prompting them to come up with the answers themselves, and then the action plan to be able to go away and create their ideal business.
Yeah, but also listening as well. You can learn a lot from clients. We learn huge amounts from clients. We're not experts, you know. We basically steal with pride, don't we? Because we learn from them and then we share the knowledge. So listen, they're fascinating. I love our clients because, you know, I just love their ideas, and I'm always in awe of their ideas. So listen, it's really valuable, and understand where they're struggling, understand what their pain points are, because then that brings other opportunities as well, doesn't it? You know, you might be, well, actually, if we did a forecast for you, that would help you understand that bit on. Let's map that out, because if we forecast that out, you'll see what happens in 2-3 years time. And it's again, it's like with the Clarity software, it's been able to benchmark and see the, you know, 7 sort of key figures, and it's around having those conversations with people, but explaining why.
Yeah, exactly. And something else I know that we've discussed previously, Debbie, is, you know, that we have within the Clarity platform is being able to hold clients accountable. You know, that's the secret sauce, effectively, isn't it? That hangs everything together. So you produce the report, to use that to have a conversation with the client, to ask the right questions, to develop an action plan. But we know what it's like if you leave things to leave a person, a business owner, to their own devices. Things don't always get done when they're supposed to get done. So that's where the power of accountability comes in. It
does, and you know, we do like pre-work questionnaires now. We follow up with minutes and action points and things like that. But you know, interestingly, I've got a couple of. I'm just trying a new tack on accountability, and I'm sharing Trello boards with clients, and I've done one with a client this morning. We've done an action plan because they're floundering a bit in their business, and we've done an action plan. We've put some deadlines in there, and I've made them share it with me. So I can sit there and, oh, you said you were going to do that, so why haven't you done it? And just trying to help them get to where they want to be. That's what we're there for. That's the advisory. This is where I want to be. How are we going to help you get there?
Exactly. Yeah. And we just happen to be numbers people. Numbers are the language of business. We're here to help you.
Yeah. Well, whether it's marketing, sales, operations, whatever sector of your business you're working on, it all comes back to the bottom line, doesn't it? Somewhere along the line.
Yeah. Well, they all contribute for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Debbie, tell me a little bit more about how Clarity and Futurely work together for Not Just Numbers in terms of delivering business advisory.
Okay, so just to be brutally honest, we are new to Clarity, something we should have done a long time ago, but again, we're small and sometimes a little short on resource, so we get there eventually. We've used Futurely since forever, since it was Crunchboard. So we've used Futurely because my background's, I'm a management accountant, so I love detail and I love forecasting, I love budgeting, all of that stuff. So we've used that for a long time, and the level of detail we can get into is fantastic. So we're not just saying, oh, you've got sales of 30 grand a month and a margin of this, so you know, overheads of that, blah blah blah, you're going to end up with this. Where the level of detail we want to go into is, well, how is that made up, and what resource have you got to do, you know, have you got enough resource to deliver that? Can we look at your overheads, all of that sort of thing. So that's worked brilliantly for us for years, and we've got really high engagement on the forecasting stuff. And we run all our management reports through there. We have all our KPI dashboards via there. We do our actions and recommendations and our management reports from there. So that works really, really well. Where we see Clarity fitting in with it is that's the front end, isn't it? So what we're currently underway doing at the minute is bringing all our clients in from zero and benchmarking them. The great thing that we're really looking forward to is grading again, because we had a bit of a call on clients last year, and Clarity would have been fantastic for that when we did that sort of grading clients. So really looking forward to doing that again. I think that's a really valuable exercise. We're also going to we're putting all our clients into sector, so we can benchmark within our portfolio of clients. So again, that's something we've looked at doing for a long time. But I think in terms of Clarity sits at the beginning, you run those numbers through, you get a feel for it. I think it then identifies the people that would benefit from a further conversation, and that's where we can introduce the advisory services. And then part of the advisory is encouraging them to do a forecast and look forward, because I've always been look forward, don't look back. You can't do a lot about that. You can learn from it, but once it's done, isn't it? So how can you improve and get it right going forward?
Absolutely. And because Clarity is new for you, Debbie, just 2 points to add that I think may be helpful for you and for the listeners as well, or viewers, is you can actually, from the future screen, when you create a future screen for a client, you can then effectively take that data and then import that into Futurely.
Okay.
So when you've created that ideal scenario or that possible scenario for a client, you can then take that information, put that straight into Futurely very quickly, as you know, create the forecast based on the numbers that you've gone through with Clarity. And Trello's great, absolutely. You can also use the accountability element of Clarity as well, and invite your clients in to be able to see what tasks they've got.
So and I think from what you've said as well is, and we talked about it earlier, is engaging the from bookkeeping level upwards in the accountability side, because we sort of do that in a roundabout way anyway, because the bookkeepers do hold the clients accountable as well, massively. Just and just having a plan and just making sure, if you want good information and you want it on time and you want all of these things, you want visibility of your business, you have to do these things for us and take responsibility for that. So I think going forward, Clarity will be a really good addition for us. It sort of, again, we talked about how to choose apps. It solves a problem for us.
I think we were speaking before about you're such an advisory firm. You mentioned about 40% or so of your clients are taking up advisory services. Is Clarity there to take you to like 50, 60, 70%?
Hopefully. I mean, I'd like in some form, and we've got ideas about what that will look like, but we'd like in some form all clients to have some form of advisory.
Great.
Yeah, I'd like to be knocking on the door of 90,
to the next level, I suppose, isn't it?
90, 100%. Yeah. With the ideal is with the resource we've already got.
Yeah,
so the ops manager's helping.
And everybody to take more staff on. But as well as we do, to take more staff on, you need another bank of clients like that or like that, and we're quite happy with the level we've got at the minute. We just want to be able to add more value to all of them and improve again on customer service. I think you can never stop improving. There's always something you can do better. But we've taken a long time to get a nice team, and we call them the dream team now, because they're just fab, and they all work really well together. They all have their own roles, and but they all fit really well. And I'm loath to spoil that, really, unless somebody amazing came along. So.
And it makes sense. You don't have to. The quick route, if the funding's there, if you've got the cash, the quick route, yep, you can throw resource at it. But coming back to what we were saying before, is people, process, and tech. The tech is there to do the heavy lifting. You build the processes around that, and then you have the people to drive the process. The right people, and you have the right people.
Yeah.
And like you said, you've been on a journey. It didn't happen overnight. You've got the right people now, which is fantastic. So there's no reason why you couldn't, with your existing team, deliver, to 100% of your client base.
Absolutely. That's the goal, and I don't see why we can't. There's no barrier to that. Because of like you said, the processes and the tech that we currently have in place, and it's choosing your app stack carefully. And we have a little diagram in our office that shows all the apps that we work with and how they all interlink with each other and what purpose, why they're there, really. So everybody in the business knows what we use, how we use it, and then even at bookkeeping level, there's an opportunity for them to upsell where they spot an opportunity, and it's around like we said earlier, it's around everyone in the business spotting an opportunity to make clients' lives better, more efficient, easier, take a headache away, something they don't enjoy doing.
And I wanted to come back to, you mentioned clients and how you did an exercise previously with clients, and you mentioned before that you've got rid of some clients. Apologies, we don't have clarity available at the time to help you go through that process of the client grading. But could you share a little bit in terms of how you went through that process, and I think more importantly how you got the confidence to get rid of some clients? Because with myself, with my own journey, with my accounting firm, I had to get over that leap of faith, if you like, knowing that it would be right on the other side. And I've had similar discussions with other accountants who run firms, but it'd be really interesting for you to share how you went through that process and what gave you the confidence to do it.
So we've been trying to get to that point for a long time, and I'm the elephant in the room, without a shadow of a doubt. Sometimes you just have to put your big girl pants on and do the right thing. But I had quite a serious injury a couple of years ago, and having gone through that journey and having had 18 months of operations and excruciating pain, I realised who was on my side and who wasn't, for sure. And also I think I became less tolerant of, and I think it came to the surface more about who was sapping our time and energy, didn't want to pay for it. So like with Claritre's nailed it in getting the grading, we sort of did our own grading, if you like. And we looked at the customer account profitability. We looked at what clients were paying every month, how much time they'd spent on support, how much time they'd taken from us on phone calls and painful emails and all the rest of it. And in some respects, some of it was much easier because we renew our contracts every year. So the ones that we looked at that we thought we can't continue with these guys because they're just draining us. And you always say surround yourself with positive people, and I think we got to that point where the negative ones were draining the business, and we're too small to for it not to impact. So for the majority, we priced them out and they chose to leave, which was it took the decision away from me. And others, we just kindly said, we're rethinking our business model. We're scaling back. We're going to concentrate more on our advisory clients, because we appreciated that maybe the service levels for the advisory clients that were paying more wasn't there because we were spending too much time on the people that weren't prepared to pay for it. So we had to readdress the balance. And those where the prices went up, went up slightly to get on a better footing, it more than compensated for the ones that we lost. And so we ended up with less work, more money, which is ideal. And then I think because we got our heads in that place, and we were clearer about the clients that were good for us and those that weren't, we started attracting more of the better clients. So we actually replaced some of the ones we'd lost by better quality ones that didn't shared our values, didn't sap our time and energy, and helped us move forward. So big learning curve, and I've got braver, and I don't actually worry about it anymore, because I think there's a place for everybody, and sometimes you've just got to be brave enough to say, we're not for you, you're not for us, you'll be better served by somebody else.
So it's more of a change in the personality of your clients rather than the services they were paying for. Obviously, I imagine those personalities would affect the brand and the culture of your own office, rather than like a client paying for a higher value. We should keep them because.
We've still got some really tiny clients, but because I love them, because they're brilliant clients, and it doesn't matter how much they pay me, I'd still have them anyway, but that's my choice because I really enjoy working with them. And as a business owner, it's getting to the point where you can have choice, isn't it? So it's not all about the big ones. We have some smaller ones too that we make a massive difference to, and we do it at a much lower price point because they're a much smaller business, but we still we still want to work with those people. So it is really looking at the people that value us more than anything.
It makes that relationship and that conversation so much easier, isn't it? If you get on and they share in the kind of the brand, I suppose, and not just numbers.
We don't want somebody dreading coming to see us, and by the same token, we don't want to dread somebody walking through that door. We want to work with the right people, and I think like you said, Steve, it's that brave decision and trusting that if you leave a gap, it will get filled again, but it'll get filled by the right. So we view it now that, all right, we might lose that one and it might be worth that, but it creates space, and it creates space for something better to come along and fill that space. So, and you've just got to trust that the people are out there, and they generally are.
Yeah, you're saying no to the people that aren't right for you, so you can say yes to the ones that are. So you're creating that space for those people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the message really is, I've been in practice 15 years, and I know people have been in practice a lot longer, but it's taken me a long time. It's not been an easy journey for me. It's taken a long time to be brave enough, and it's confidence, to have the confidence to value what we do, to value the people we work with, and to exit the people that we're not right for. And it's a two-way street. It's a relationship that we're not right for them, they're not right for us. And just just be brave enough to make that decision, because it all comes good. And you're not then, it clears your headspace, doesn't it? Because you're not then worrying about that client that's really niggling at you, that's really winding you up, that doesn't appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a better place for everyone, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Debbie, with wrapping up, is there any advice or any final thoughts that you'd like to share in terms of coming back onto the theme of introducing business advisory? Is there anything that you would like to leave our viewers with?
Like I said, I think the big thing is building the relationships. It's encouraging people to talk about their business and you to listen, and just being accessible. Not you shouldn't be your client shouldn't be fearful of you or worried about coming to see you. They should see it as a good thing and an exciting thing, because they're going to learn more about, they're going to learn and get better. But don't be that accountant that just churns year-end accounts out and gives them their tax bill, because we're so much better than that. And they, the tech that we've got now, and like you said, it does all the heavy lifting. You can produce fantastic reports for people and get to know their businesses, get to know them really well. You then become the trusted advisor, the go-to person, and that leads to all sorts of other exciting things. So, you know, we've always done the meetings. We've always sat with the clients, and it's, you know, sometimes you worry that you're not going to have enough to talk about, or, you know, that they're doing really, really well. So how can you add even more value? But just ask them a question, you know, how can we help? How can we make this better? You know, what else would you like to do? Have you thought about this? And sometimes we become, you know, it should be around mentoring as well, because we've had clients where they're completely lost, want to change direction, and I always say to them, well, what's your dream job? What if you could do anything and money was no object and families were no object, what would you do? And it makes them really think outside the box, and then you start at the bottom, and that's where the good stuff comes. So if you're worried about doing advisory, just think about what your clients do already and what you've learned from them, and share it. Simple as that. Just share Perfect. A bit of the good stuff.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you very much, Debbie.
Okay, thank you.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining us today on this session. As we said, there are another 2 in the SuperUser series, so definitely watch those other 2 after you finish watching this one. I'd like to say thank you to Debbie again for joining us and sharing your wisdom. Thank you very much. Thank you to Sam, and thank you for Amy as well. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.